requires all hands on deck, a dedicated coalition of state and federal public servants committed to guarding taxpayer dollars like they guard their own bank accounts. And today, with these folks behind me, we're putting fraudsters on notice that many hands have joined the deck, and we are at our stations to join the fight against fraud. In addition to our gracious host, the governor of the great state of South Carolina, with me today are U.S. attorneys, state attorneys general, secretaries of state, state treasurers, auditors, directors, inspectors general, the FBI, HSI, and other partners from 7 different states across the Southeast. These partnerships are critical to solving our nationwide fraud epidemic. Fraudsters thrive on government agencies not partnering, not sharing data, not sharing intelligence. The fraud-fighting team assembled here today is resolved to work together to break those cycles and bring the fraudsters out into the light. When federal prosecutors work with state agencies to share leads, data, and strategy, the American people win. Better intelligence, better cases, better training, more money returned to victims, and more fraudsters behind bars where they belong. Just today, the Fraud Division signed data sharing agreements with 10 state agencies represented here across 6 states to formalize our shared commitment to the responsible sharing of publicly available corporate registration and government's benefits payment data for early fraud detection. This is an operational partnership, faster access to critical data, and joint work streams that enable us to move quickly when fraud indicators emerge. That speed matters. Every day we cut between detection and disruption and imprisonment protects taxpayer dollars and strengthens the integrity of our federal and state programs. Beyond the data streams that are now starting to flow, we are forging more and better relationships with our state partners. For example, in North Carolina, federal prosecutors are working directly with state program leaders responsible for overseeing federally funded programs, searching for criminals committing Medicaid, SNAP, and daycare fraud. These same prosecutors have created a channel for the North Carolina Department of Insurance to directly refer fraud cases involving illegal aliens who are defrauding the American taxpayer. The Northern District of Mississippi, represented today, has formed a fraud task force comprised of various federal and state stakeholders. The Northern, Middle, and Southern Districts of Florida have done the same with the Florida Anti-Fraud Task Force to protect public benefits programs. This is a historic collaboration in Florida from Tallahassee to Miami to attack fraudsters who exploit SNAP, unemployment benefits, and other taxpayer-funded programs. In addition to these partnerships, the DOJ is announcing today that since the 4th of July, our southeastern U.S. attorneys' offices have charged 12 additional defendants with defrauding taxpayer-funded programs. These cases reach over $90 million in intended losses. And you'll hear more about those from our U.S. attorneys' offices in a minute. One scheme targeted food stamp benefits in the Southern District of Florida. On July 8th, 4 defendants were charged for concocting a scheme to convince food stamp recipients to sell their federal benefits at a discounted rate in exchange for cash. The scheme caused nearly $20 million in fraudulent EBT transactions at a quick stop convenience store in Miami. 2 of the co-conspirators are foreign nationals, and 1 even has a pending final order of removal from the United States. And as the allegations allege, he is charged with defrauding the American taxpayer. As of today in that case, 3 of the 4 defendants have been arrested. Most recently, one of the defendants was arrested just 4 days ago when he landed in the United States on a flight from Jordan. The charges we're announcing today also include a fraud scheme targeting a program meant to educate our children. And I can't overemphasize that these are not victimless crimes. Every fraud case prevents bread from going to the table of a needy family, or health care from going to the elderly, or a child from receiving the education that they deserve. On July 15th, Chakessa Scott, her husband, and her daughter were indicted in the Middle District of Louisiana. As alleged, Scott was the CEO of Impact Charter School in Baker, Louisiana, which received state and federal funds. According to the allegations, instead of using those funds to benefit Impact Charter's students, Scott and her co-conspirators diverted over $1.5 million for their personal use, such as paying family members for fraudulent contracting invoices and purchasing luxury vehicles. Consistent with the charges in the indictment, a public investigative audit found that Scott used money to pay for a trip to Egypt and to buy a Land Rover, things that the average United States citizen would never be able to dream of affording. And yet you all paid for it. You all paid for that Land Rover. And now we're endeavoring to claw it back, to win it back for the American taxpayer. Fitting today's theme of federal-state partnerships, this case is a product of an investigative partnership between the U.S. Secret Service and the Louisiana Legislative Auditor, Mike Wagspack, who joins us here today. Thank you, Mike, for your hard work and partnership with us as we endeavor to root out fraud across our country. My message, in conclusion, to state partners here and across the country is this. The Fraud Division and our U.S. Attorney's offices are ready to help you scale your efforts, strengthen your cases, and deliver results for the taxpayers of America. Your partnership with us is the antidote to the fraud epidemic facing our nation. And my message to the fraudsters is this. Our team is getting bigger. Our resolve is getting stronger. And your time is getting shorter. Thank you all for attending the Southeast Federal State Fraud Partnership Conference. And now I'll turn the podium over to our gracious host, Governor McMaster.
Thank you.